Joining us today is a former television host, entertainment reporter, and is now the host and director of outreach for PragerU Resources for educators and parents. Jill Simonian, welcome back to Better for America, and thank you for joining me.
Hi, Rebecca. I'm so excited to talk to you again.
I am too. You're doing a great job. In one of your videos for PragerU, you discuss the importance of providing boys and girls, or boys in this case, with more hands-on and active learning experiences. Can you speak more about how schools can create various types of learning environments so that children can be better engaged and learn, and how teachers can really engage those who may struggle with traditional classroom settings? I think this is something on a lot of moms' minds these days.
Yeah, well, Rebecca, we often say that our education system has been hijacked, and I think most reasonable people now do not view that as hyperbole when we say that our education system has been hijacked, because what's going on inside of classrooms, we are seeing a replacement of teaching academics and knowledge with teaching social justice and gender identity issues, and quite frankly, too many topics that are very, very complex and frankly inappropriate to even be discussed in a classroom setting between teachers and students without parents present. So our education system has traded teaching knowledge with teaching social justice. And I think that's one of the foundational problems for why so many children are lacking in actual learning. We've seen a decrease in literacy for children across the board the last 3 years. We've seen a decrease in children actually meeting academic standards, and it's because many of these social justice, gender ideology lessons are being forced upon our children in schools. And one of those prevalent messages is that you don't have to be a boy or a girl. You can be either or. You can be neither. You can be both. You can be non-binary, and binary is a construct. And these are all lies that our children are being taught. So what happens, I mean, as a mom, this concerns me, and I know you're concerned too. What happens in a classroom is you have little boys and little girls as young as 5, 6 years old thinking, well, I don't know if I'm a boy. I don't know if I'm a girl. And it's destructive for their psychological, emotional development and well-being, and it prevents them from learning. And at PragerU, especially PragerU Kids, we like to celebrate how we were made as God intended, and that includes leaning into what makes a boy and leaning into what makes a girl. And we want to give our young men, we want to empower our young boys to grow into young men and to not shy away from that at all.
It is very intimidating. It can be very intimidating for a child to stand up for themselves, even though they know they've got an opinion. It's in line perhaps with what they were taught at home, but the school is bringing them in a different direction. But, perhaps a lot of our listeners, parents and grandparents, are thinking, what advice might you have, any resources that you have that can help encourage our children to stand up for their values?
Well, one thing that we believe in is character building and teaching our children our values. And that's something that, we talk about it at work. I talk about it with my mom friends. I talk about it with grandparents. It is so important, especially now in this day and age with so many lies being forced on our kids. We need to teach our children our values and to teach them character building. And part of that character building includes confidence and responsibility and hard work and ways that children can recognize how lucky we are in America. And that starts at a very young age. And something we've tried to do at PragerU Kids with our very first series that we launched for the program more than a year ago. Otto's Tales is a story time series for our youngest learners, kindergarten through second grade, although many fourth and fifth grade students like it too, I'm told, and I know from personal experience. But these are classic folk tales and stories that celebrate our American values, that really build character at a very young age, to remind children that we can share our values. We do not have to shy away from our values. We can be proud of who we are, what we believe in, freedom, opportunity, equality under God, hard work, being responsible. If we start sharing our values and really celebrating them in an outward way, unabashedly, without fear of being persecuted, like so many are trying to do to those who do share their values, if we teach our children to really be secure in what we believe, I think that sets a foundation for later on when they get to middle school, when they get to high school, when they get to college, and they're faced with a professor thrusting lies upon them in terms of our, culture and society. It really starts at a young age, and that's what we're trying to do at PragerU Kids with so many of our videos. And they're just 5 minute, 10 minutes a day to give our kids what we like to call broccoli for the brain, so they can have those nutrients to be armed and empowered to know their values and to share them with the world with confidence.
Yeah, I love the resources. We'll share them here for sure. Children are growing up differently today compared to uh, the years when I was growing up, when you were growing up. Today, children are really facing the digital age, and that's Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all of that. When we were growing up, parents had to worry about sending their kids off to school. But now today, parents have to worry about overcoming social media and any threats that might present. Uh, I guess my question is for you, with so much reliance on social media and online platforms, any advice for parents how to best navigate those challenges?
Well, as a mom, I myself am very, very old fashioned, which I think happens to be a good thing in this day and age. And it's not easy, it's very difficult. I have two children who are in their tween years, not quite teenagers yet, but this is about the age that most of my children's friends are getting phones. I have opted out of that option, and my kids know that they will not be getting their own phones anytime soon. And it's simply because we know how destructive and damaging phones are for children at the developmental stages of life. We know that it causes mental illness. We know that it curbs their development. We know that it's an attack on their emotional well-being. And I mean, TikTok, of course, is in the news right now with a potential ban on TikTok. We know how damaging TikTok is, especially for the tween and teen groups. And we know how children are being targeted through these apps to be sexualized in a most harmful way that is, almost unbelievable, but it's reality now. It's happening. My advice is to opt out of getting children their own devices and instead have a family device. And this is what my husband and I do. We do have an iPad that my girls like to watch their hair braiding videos on. They like to listen to music. They like to watch certain episodes of PragerU Kids. Their favorite episode is the how-to series that we have, which is character building. But the method that we do at our house is that if my daughters want to watch something on the iPad, they don't have it in their room. It's not in the family room. The iPad is in my husband and my room, and they need to ask us, hey, can I use the iPad and watch something? And our iPad has all the appropriate filters on it, but they check that iPad out. They watch what they want. I am monitoring it. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And then when they're done with it, they put that iPad back. And that's our solution. And, especially with apps like TikTok, we see American children's brains being destroyed because apps like TikTok and even Instagram for young people are putting forth all of these challenges and
They're
ridiculous
damaging.
things.
Yeah,
They're
they're just
damaging. And
they're damaging to young
yeah,
children and even to adults. It is so important that parents play a role to protect children, make decisions when we're sending them off to school. Oftentimes, these teachers are, and I don't really just blame the teachers. We have a lot of wonderful teachers in this nation, but the teachers many of them are encouraging children, not to report to their parents. That you can talk to me, and encouraging a behavior and attitude and trying to plant ideas in our young children's minds. that really put a further wedge between the parent and the child. So my prayer and hope for this country is that we can strengthen the family here in America and, really place a lot of emphasis on the importance of mothers and fathers in children's lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And never in the history of my life have I ever noticed such a directed attack to separate children from parents. I remember growing up, and I'm sure you do too, when we used to be told as children, if anyone tells you to keep a secret from your parents, that person is harmful and dangerous to you, and you need to go directly to your parents because that is wrong. And now we are seeing a complete abandonment of that logic. And it is terrifying. And our children need to understand our values, what is right, what is wrong, how to think critically, and how to be secure in our values, whether they are religious or American values. And that's really what we're trying to reinforce at PragerU Kids. And it's an uphill battle, but we can do it.
You're doing a great job, Jill. You're doing a great job. Your organization is really paving a way. And a reminder to everyone out there listening, be sure to tell that to your children, to your grandchildren. Don't be shy. Our children need a place to go, a trusted place to go. And it's up to us, the people, the parents and the grandparents to do that job. Jill Simonian, what a pleasure to have you with us. I look forward to having you back with me again soon, and keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you so much. And everyone can subscribe for free at PragerUKids.com if you want to get our kids shows in your email inbox every week.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can listen to more just like it. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, or by downloading the AMAC app. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Until next time, I'm Rebecca Weber. This is your podcast, Better for America. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful evening.